So to give you a background, I run an agency called Rev Growth. I'm the founder and CEO. So here is my team. So the team is going to probably run through the workflows, right? We are a B2B marketing agency. So that's a little bit of background. So I'm not getting into details about Rev Growth now, but yeah. So the whole idea is we want to show like three automations, which is number one, outbound use case, predominantly Clay. Make an N8N, which talks about inbound use cases, right? So that is the idea of the session. So like I said, this was a request from a community called GoPMM, and a lot of product marketers asked for this. So we thought it's a great idea to kind of extend this session to people, right? That's a background for a lot of you guys. So we have 1 hour, and we have to quickly run the session, like, keep each of the automations, each of the tools like 15 minutes each, and then we can do a Q&A at the end, right? So hope this format works for you guys, right? Sean, like quickly show the agenda. I'll like brief with the agenda, and then let's move on to the session itself.
So today we are going to talk about the workflow automation for marketers. So basically it's for inbound and outbound. So this is the host and speaker. So Tahir will explain you guys how to do the inbound, and I will be explaining you guys how to do the outbound through tools. So this is the agenda for the section. First of all, we are going to see the lead follow-up automation using Make.com. Second, multi-channel that presented by the thing will be presented by Mohammed Tahir. Then second, multi-channel content creation agent using N8N. That is presented by Said Omdi. Then I will be on 8:30 to 8:50. I'll tell you guys how to run the setup and run Clay and everything, and how you guys will set up the smart lead and everything. Then lastly, for the 10 minutes, you guys will have a Q&A session. So you can ask the questions that you have in that particular time. First of all, we'll go with the lead follow-up automation using Make.com. So yeah, hand it over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. So before you start the video, right? So I'll set the context, right? So 1 month back, Karthik, called us up and he said that, why are we manually updating the inbound inquiry sheet? So basically, we have the CRM based on the sheets, right? Google Sheet. So and also follow-ups, all of that gets marked there. So we'll have to check the Google Calendar of Karthik's, which is a founder, right? So whether meeting has been booked, whether meeting happened, so all different scenarios, right? So that had to be marked manually on the inbound inquiry sheet, right? So this had to be automated, right? So first scenario is basically all the leads that fill up a form gets manually, automatically put into a Slack channel, right? We have a Slack channel, and from there, this automation gets triggered. So we'll go through each one by one. What is the module we are creating? The first module gets triggered, right? This is the trigger action. So basically this you fetch from, the Slack, and then we have a text parser module, which extracts the email data, right? And this is where the magic happens, right? It goes through the Google calendar of Karthik's and analyzes whether the meeting has happened and meeting doesn't happen. So here there are two scenarios, guys, right? So once it goes through the Google Calendar, basically where if it checks whether the meeting has been booked or not booked. If it gets booked, then it is marked as SQL in the inbound inquiry sheet. If the meeting is not booked, right, it will get marked as an MQL, right? That is the simple, two scenarios that we are looking at. So I was talking about two scenarios, right? So one is the module goes through the calendar, checks whether the meeting is booked or not booked. And from there, we, it analyzes whether it's an MQL or an SQL. Yeah, please go through the video, Sean. Yes. So then, basically, if it is marked as MQL, right, now the next use case comes up is if they have filled up a form, now that we have to reach out to them, right? So we use an Unipile API here, right? So we extract the email address, and then we send it to a module which is built on Unipile. So Unipile is a API that we use to send LinkedIn messages. So the module fetches the the email address, and then it sends it to Unipile, where we find out a provider ID is created. A provider ID is nothing but each profile have one separate provider ID. So it basically extracts the provider ID, and then a LinkedIn message is sent to them. Basically there are two scenarios also within this. If you're an existing LinkedIn connection, then a message is sent. If you're a new LinkedIn connection, right, then connection request is sent to the to the lead, right? So this is the scenario for an MQL, right? When it is marked as SQL, right? So basically it gets marked first. It gets marked as an SQL within the Google Sheet, and then the next module basically. The next module is a delay module where it has a delay of 1 week, and it analyzes within that 1 week. It analyzes whether there's a the next module basically analyzes and extracts information whether a meeting has happened with the lead, right? So it scrapes Karthik's Gmail account, and it goes through and tries to analyze whether a summary note has been generated, right? And then so the scenario is basically here: a meeting has happened or not happened, right? That is the scenario that we are going to analyze here, right? And the next module is a ChatGPT module. Basically this will analyze whether a meeting has happened or not happened, right? So if you get a summary, basically the meeting has happened. If you don't get a summary, right, the meeting has not happened. As simple as that, right? So a meeting that has happened, basically we try to get the summary from the meeting summarizer and pass it on to the next module, which gets that meeting summary into a Google Sheet, right? So this is
we use Fireplace. Yeah, we use Fireplace, right? So it's basically a Fireplace API call.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever lead has filled up a form and no a meeting did not happen, right? Then that is the next scenario. Basically here you try to fetch out the same provider ID from Unipile, and we send out a message saying that hey, we saw that you filled up a form, but you didn't the meeting didn't happen. You didn't show up on the meeting, right? So we send out a message on the LinkedIn DMs, right? So that's the scenario that we are trying to work on with this scenario, right? Now I'll play this record, a live demo for you guys so that you can see how this works real time. So we'll play it for two scenarios basically. One is a meeting that a lead that has filled up a form, right, and has not booked a call. That is the first scenario that we are going to look at. And then the second scenario is basically a lead that has filled up a form and he has booked a call and he's also showed up for the call, right? So that's the second scenario that we're going to look at, right? So this is the scenario where the lead has actually made it to the call. The lead the call has happened, right? So here what we are trying to do is the meeting summary has to be stored into the inbound inquiry sheet, right? It has to be manual. It has to be automatically stored onto the sheet, right? That is what we're looking at, right? So this is the inbound inquiry sheet that you see here. So this is the data that has been stored into the inbound inquiry sheet, right? So the second scenario is basically an MQL who has filled up a form, but he didn't book a call, right? He didn't go to the booking page and he didn't book a call. For them, we want to send out the LinkedIn connection request, right? Saying that, hey, you filled up a form, but you didn't book a call with us, right? So that is the next scenario. So the module runs. Yeah, this is the message that you get, right? So it is personalized, saying that hey, first name, notice you filled out a form but you didn't book a call with us. Could we schedule sometime this week, right? So that is the the second scenario, right? So these were the scenarios there. So it saved us a lot of time and effort, right, in the last 2 to 3 weeks that we have been using. So a lot of manual stuff has been automated for us, and lead follow-up and a lot of those things have been automated. So yeah, over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think somebody asked this question. I'll answer them. I think Niranjan also asked this question, right? I may take this and then maybe rest of the questions later. So one, Niranjan, the problem was, right, one, I was spending a lot of time on irrelevant leads, okay, following up on irrelevant leads, right? So I figured during the, let's say, my funnel, that a lot of the leads that I was following up, less than 50 employees in India, was taking most of my time, and it's the basic 80-20 rule, right? Most of the time, but the conversions were literally like next to zero. And then there were a bunch of people, which is, from an ICP, let's say more than 50 employees, and founder and let's say CEO or a marketing head who came in the funnel, they had a higher chance of conversion. Okay, that is one problem. Number two is every time I have a call, right, and then I have to send a proposal, and then I have to follow up with leads that didn't book a meeting, right? And because I'm a single founder, most of the sales is done by me right now. So which means I want to avoid manual sending proposals, all of that, like, because you have AIs giving you summaries, right? And we want to directly push them into the whole logic is, if somebody says proposal or on the call we talk about a proposal, right? So the Fireflies will analyze what is the discussion and then automatically generates a proposal, right? That's probably another use case. That use case we're not showing right now. Okay. So I saved time, I saved energy on the relevant leads. So conversion went up drastically. So which means I know the probability of. Sean also did another mission where a Excel file told me which leads to even follow up, right? This is basically the forecasting tool. Like, I think the Clary and all, which will do, like Clary, Netcar and all these tools will actually tell you how many times you should follow up with the lead, or if it's a relevant lead, right? Forecasting, it will tell you deal closures, probability, or deal scoring, right? So which I've also done using. There's also another workflow. So I followed up only with the relevant leads, and conversion also went up drastically. We saved a lot of time and energy on following up with the relevant leads. So these are basic use cases. So a lot of time saved. Okay, I'll probably answer a few other questions if you guys have, probably at a later stage. I think, yeah. So now, Said, can you rejoin once you share the screen? I updated the meeting settings.
Yeah, before we start sharing, so I can already for the sake of time, I can start presenting. Yes, I'm Said Umidi. I'm founder of Elia. Is a marketing agency focusing on machine learning and data science here in Switzerland. And I'm happy to be with you today. Today, I'm going to present another type of way of building workflow. So like Tahir presented Make.com, another kind of prominent workflow building platform is N8N. And so I think in terms of capabilities are very similar. N8N has maybe more kind of kind of coding and stuff involved in it. You could build more sort of in-depth sort of workflows, but it's also, both of them are very great workflows. So N8N is an open source project. So you don't have to. There's a website, so you can go to the website and subscribe to N8N and pay a monthly fee that they manage the server, your workflows, etc. Please, next slide. Another way of doing that is that the way we did it here at Elia was taking the source code of N8N and building a server on DigitalOcean in this case, or you can have your own server or cloud, or even local computer, and basically build the software. So it's based on Docker, and you can run it for free. And it would be self-hosted, so you would be responsible for everything related to your N8N pipeline. If you go next slide, please. And so the idea for this to self-hosting it is price and is flexibility in terms of what you want to install. In terms of, for example, like N8N has a node, a component that is code, and sometimes you need to code and you need to use a library, but the one in the server, the official one, doesn't allow you to use any library. But if you have it in your own server, you can install those libraries. And yeah, and then at the same time, another thing that is very important is N8N, this platform, exactly. Another thing that is important is the APIs. So the way it works, sometimes you want to build your own API layer, do some sort of calculation and computing. And either you can deploy your APIs in some other cloud server and then use HTTP requests to connect to it, or within the same server that you are launching your N8N, you also run your APIs, and it's just a local call. It's faster and it's cheaper. There are key components to building N8N workflow. The main components and nodes are very similar to Make.com. There are triggers, There are app integrations. It integrates with over 40, I think, different applications and tools. It has LLM chains and agents. It has different types of LLM and data flows that allows you to kind of, whenever there's a workflow, sort of manipulate the data in between, add, remove, filter, etc. And API integration. So there's also like, similar to Make, you can call external APIs. More advanced components are these in-house APIs. You can actually call other N8N workflows. It's actually a very interesting design that you could design a modular workflow that part of your workflow done by one responsive, and once it's done, it triggers and call another workflow to continue, or a number of workflows to continue. And this way you can kind of build a more complex machinery ground up. The MCP servers are new magic in the AI world, that it kind of opens the door to tools or workflows that allowing the AI agents to manipulate and use tools that are provided. And finally, the community nodes. So there are special nodes that doing some special things and tasks that are not officially covered by N8N. And so these are community nodes. They're interesting things that so kind of simplify your work. The whole thing is based on open source, so people sharing these things, or you could design your own node based on your business requirement. So it kind of, this ecosystem, it provides a massive opportunity in terms of what can be built today. It's just, the only thing is, I think the sky is the limit, or a sky is our imagination here, that what we could do and what we could design in terms of workflow that is embedded in our business, integrated. What Tahir showed is one example, but you could think about what type of tools and applications and processes you have in your business that you could kind of design workflows for. So the workflow that I'm going to show you is this one. It's a workflow for performing some sort of content creation and going from content creation all the way to landing page. The same workflow can be kind of used to create other type of content, social media content, blog posts, SEO, etc. This is part one of this. So the way we build it is, just click next, exactly. So it starts with a Google Sheet that it triggers whenever there is a new row added to this Excel sheet or Google Sheet. So it starts with a seed keyword. Like here is a keyword that I want to do research. The number would be how many of the top results from Google I'm interested, the country, and you could also add other type of parameters. And after, as soon as you insert this, so this, you can think about a kind of shared resource within the company. As soon as you do that, next please, it triggers the chain. The chain starts. The chain is listening to this Google Sheet. And then it uses Apify. Apify is a marketplace for a lot of APIs for building scrapers and embedding them in your workflow. So in this case, it runs Apify for scraping Google for all the search results. It returns also AI overview, paid ads, organic ads. You get a lot of information like the headlines, emphasize words, keywords, many things, the links, etc. And what I do here is that as soon as I have this, because this Apify, it costs money when you run it. You can rent, and it's called Actor. You run it monthly, you pay a $30 fee monthly, and you can use it. But as soon as like I do this, I would drop this data into a database. This database could be anything. In our case, is MongoDB. It stores the data there for future if you want to kind of build some sort of analysis on it. And it's also helpful for designing, because when you design, you can actually take the results from database and continue your rest of workflow design instead of going from beginning all the time testing this and running this different APIs outside. So next. So up to this point, we get a raw result from Google. And then we are using a LLM. The to process this data. You could also think of, if we want to have more control of what's the output gonna be, we could design our own API for this to do some sort of natural language processing. But in this case, LLM is doing a perfect job. One trick that we are doing, we are using Open Router. Open Router is one place that you could get one key, one API key, and then within your workflow, choose whichever kind of language model you want to use, Gemini, OpenAI, Growth, whatever like AI system you want to use. It just gives you, there are like hundreds probably, like different LLMs. So you don't need to go to n different platforms and get API keys and manage them. So you can manage all the API keys from one central place, that's Open Router. And then after that, so up to this point, we process the result and we are guiding the LLM. We are guiding the LLM what type of result we are looking for, how to analyze the results from Google, and what kind of file to prepare. And then again, those results will be stored on the database. So this is the second part of the pipeline. So now we have the results. Now we want to build a report for basically human to review this. So once that is done, once we write into database, at the very beginning, there's a web, it triggers this part of the pipeline. And it goes through, again, some LLM chain that process this, prepare a markdown file. And because we are using Markdown, you could also think of using Google Doc or any sort of way to store and show the document, and then put it in a Google Drive. So this is like example at the bottom. You see the Markdown file of the report. These are the seats. These are the keywords, and it goes down and down. You get all the keywords. It classifies the keywords for different intents, and you could also integrate with other APIs to get cost per click, difficulty with the keywords, and many different things. And then you also come up with suggestions for these keywords useful for blog posts, because they're for these, and these keywords are more commercial intent, they're better for landing page. So it classifies this report would be that. But as soon as this report is ready and it stores it into Google Drive, it sends us an email that, yeah, the report is ready, you have to review and approve it. So then there's a human in the loop element. Not all LLM workflows need to be fully 100% automated. You could always integrate sort of human oversight in between. And then we receive the email, we can go to the file, open it, review, change it if we need, and then after it's done, we approve. And then it goes to the next step, which is the next slide. Yeah, and so in this slide, a lot of input comes to this merge multiple inputs. So a lot of inputs come from different sources. So far we just showed the Google search, but it could also come from social media. Another thing that we do, we scrape the competitor websites and extract key ideas, their call to action, the way that they're kind of positioning their product or service. We kind of compile this again into a report. We could also do Reddit. Many different sources can be done. You could leverage Apify to scrape all these different sources and then merge and combine all this input into this merge input node. It's a kind of data processing node, and then it goes into an AI agent. Within the AI agent, and we feed a lot of data to the AI agent and a bunch of instructions. This is what we are looking for. We want to like work on a landing page copy in this case. It could be also AI agent that, hey, we are looking for content for our blog post, or we are looking for social media, LinkedIn posts, etc., etc. What is interesting when you are having AI agents, the difference between the normal chains is that they can be also given a sort of a memory. And the memory in this case is the brand voice. So something that you could build and curate a number of files, text files that will be stored into a database, and they can be searched by AI agent to kind of better position or structure the output based on the brand identity and voice, etc. And again, it goes through the process, it generates a file, it sends an email to the user, to say approval again. Next. So this would be a kind of a landing page structure you get. It kind of come up with, here are some sort of headlines, hero section, subsections, etc., etc. It could also be a structure in a way that to say this is H1, this is H2. And so it comes up with this. They're using all the keyword research, competitor research, other type of data that you are putting in the very beginning. It combines into one landing page copy. It could also create multiple, if you want to review multiple versions to choose the best one. And then after reviewing this, editing this if it's needed, you finish this. And then next, once it's finished, so this workflow was only to create a landing page. They kind of triggers another workflow, which is a separate file, a separate workflow. But when it's finished, it automatically triggers this next workflow. And in this workflow, it takes that content for the landing page. And the idea of this whole workflow is that it creates a prompt. So not all the workflows need to do a kind of generate something beautiful or do an action, send an email or connection request or many other things that they can do. As I said, there are so many possibilities. This workflow specifically create a prompt because we want to then use this prompt to generate, to guide our code gen pipeline to design and develop a code that is for this landing page. And so writing this type of prompt can be tricky. It's something that has to be established. So it's better to use a workflow to kind of evaluate this over time, create better and better version of this. Like you can embed a lot of details into this LLM chain and with those information to come up with a very good detailed step-by-step prompt that then you can use in another AI tool. So next, so at the end of this, you will get kind of a full prompt that is not designed for us, for human to read, but actually for the AI to later read it. And it kind of gives a lot of kind of information, not just the content, but also in terms of what colors and what sort of vibe you are expecting from this workflow. And you take this because now the part of code generation and building like a software out of any workflow, it doesn't exist. You have to go to a separate tool, but you have a prompt and you can take the prompt, copy paste. And in this case, we go to V0. It's a code gen from Vercel. Next, you copy this, you give it to Vercel. In a few minutes, it creates a React Next.js website, all coded with the content that you give, with the guideline that you give. Maybe sometimes a lot of, because these are really like work in progress at the moment, but you have something like very robust and solid to start with. Like you can then download the code, your engineer, your programmers, and modify this and add like details such as logo, etc., etc. But so this is basically something that maybe it could take days back then. It could take a couple of hours these days, like maybe even less. If you want to be very true and very detailed, couple of hours, well-researched kind of document based on keywords, competitor research, and the document for landing page and the code, everything comes out. So that was it from my side. Look forward to your questions at the end.
Yeah. So I'll be taking the Clay section. So this is totally for outbound. So basically, I'll cover data to email. So that is the part that we are going to do in Clay. So I'll start with the prospect list. So that is simple. So you can get the leads from the various lead builders or something, Google Outsearch and everything. So in Clay, we have an inbound, they have an inbound lead builder tool. So you can find people and companies there. So we'll start with the companies. So they will give you the exact same lead.
So, Sean, I talk about the use case first. I asked him to basically identify, let's say, funded SaaS companies from Crunchbase. Okay, so that trigger is the start, right? For few, we did it for a few companies. So identify intent and then once the intent is identified, then you trigger that into the workflow, right? That is one side. And then the second is you basically know which are the leads or criteria that you want to focus on. Basically, the number of accounts or companies that you want to target based on the criteria or ICP you already know. So that is another use case, right? We try and do both use cases. So Sean, over to you.
Yeah. So in Clay, right, you can trigger through funding data and everything. So basically the same thing. So before that, I have a company list actually in hand. So for this company list, we can find out the funding details and everything. Also the traffic data, what are the use cases that we are using and everything. I'll explain here. So first of all, we need a funding data. So just in this Clay, you have lots of integrations tools. So they have a workflow, water flow, then everything. So you guys can find out through this Clay. So it will give you the latest data only. So I'm finding the latest funding data. So mostly I will work the waterfall sequences because it is the most useful and less credits usage thing. So we just have to give the company domain and we have to save the domain and we can run out for the funding data. Basically, it will give you all the funding details in a single click. So I added here literally 32 company details. So it will give you the all funded details and everything in the particular account. It is also using like a Google Sheet, so it is easy to use and everything.
Okay, so I'll explain the use case also before we start. So the use case is because we are a marketing agency. Okay, so we mostly sell SEO and PPC as a service, right? And I asked Sean to figure out whether if you can do some research on the website. Okay, it could be any company, right? So you can get a lot of traffic data from SEMrush or HRF or like multiple tools, right? So that is the first use case, right? Find out whether what is their traffic, do they get enough traffic, or is there a drop in traffic, or is there a spike in traffic, right? All of that data. So that is one. The second situation is see whether they are spending money on ads. Okay, how much are they spending? How many clicks are they getting, right? So these are basically the two information, right? So in this case, we want to send an email to somebody who has seen a drop in traffic, or they have not been aggressively creating content or blogs. Okay, so we're trying to talk about the problem they have and then offer a solution, right? That is one use case. Second is they're already spending money on ads, they're getting X number of clicks. The idea is, are you getting conversions? If not, then we can help you with conversion, right? So these are basically two use cases that we've identified. So yeah, Sean, go ahead.
Yeah. So now we have the funding details. So I'll say most of the companies won't get a funding details frequently. So only you get if you have 100 companies, you will get 1 or 2 or 5 or 10. So that is the case, right? So this is why we created a separate sequence for them. So getting the traffic details of the company. So mostly will take 5 to 6 months of traffic data. So here you can see that Jan traffic analysis and Feb analysis, March and April and May. So May is the latest. So we'll compare this May traffic data with this 4 months. So first of all, when we add this enrichment, so you just have to go to the SEMrush. So it is free in Clay. So you can see SEMrush in Clay. So here you can see, right, get the traffic analysis. So using this, you can get the traffic data of the company. So here you just have to give the display month here, then it will give you the month's traffic data. For example, I'm giving 2025 Jan's date, then it will give you the data. So that is how I fetch this data. So for the Jan traffic analysis, so we have all the data inside, like total traffic user, total visits, and what are the paid visits they are getting, direct visit and organic search visit and everything. With these details, we can figure it out. They have a blog issue, or they have a paid traffic issue, or they have a direct issues and everything. So we can help them through content marketing or SEO, even with the performance marketing. So we can cover the 3 use cases here. So now I have all these traffic data here. Yeah, I just running for all these traffic details. So once we get these things, then we can go for the next thing, that is to validate the drop percentage of the website. So to do this traffic percentage change in this Clay tool, so what I did is first I will segregate some kind of data like total visit, total user, total paid visit, and organic and direct visit. I omitted this unwanted traffic details and everything. So now I can start with the traffic change. So this is fully give you the data through the prompting. So this is I'll give you the prompt itself. So first of all, I'm giving this date and January's date and everything. Then I'm giving the metrics available. Then I'm giving the instructions, everything. Here for the drop percentage findings, I'm giving the formula, which is drop percentage is equal to highly monthly metric and May metrics, because we are calculating this all the data with the May metrics. So that is it. Then I give the output format. So strictly follow. It will give the values in this format only. It won't add any additional details of the company's details and everything. Right? Once it's done, it will give you the what is the highest month traffic data. So which is April. Then what is the total visit is 89% drop and total user is 26.16 is growth and everything. So with this data, we'll have a chance to write an email. Right? Second, we have to do the research about the company as well. With the traffic data, we won't write an email. So for the content marketing, we have a separate prompt for this. So basically, so what I'll ask the AI to do is find out the blog page, find out how frequent they are posting their blogs and everything. Are they writing and relevant content for their blogs in their website? So that is what we are searching in this. So input data is a company domain, and I wrote this all prompt and everything to get the output. So it will give you all the data of quantitative SEO signals and strategic analysis. And the most part is we need this final output. So it will give you the primary content marketing issue and the actionable insight to reach out to the people. So this is what we are going to use in our email, right? So we covered SEO and content marketing detail through this whole prompt. So now for this company level data, it is done. So we have to get the prospect for these companies. That is the pending work. So mostly the decision makers. That's also simple. So you can just we have the company data, right? So we can find people at these companies. Just click this and you can give your ICP like only senior level folks we are going to reach, right? So owner, C-suites, director, VP, head and manager. I'm just choosing them just for a reference. Then if you have a particular job title functions, then you can give the job titles like CEOs and COOs, like head of marketing, CMOs, then marketing managers, content marketing, anything that comes under your ICP. Also, you can include your job functions, which is for us, which is marketing. So I'll always go with marketing function, right? So once you've done this and give this the preview people section, it will give you all the people that's located in the company. So here we have 333 results, but if I give the job title, it will get reduced. So I already have this people list here. So if you want to import it, just you click import and import it into a current table or a new table or an existing table. So you can do that, right? So now I extracted this prospect details and everything here. So we will get an full enrichment LinkedIn profile, which have the organization name, LinkedIn URLs, Slack countries, even their summaries, and their all experience, all job experience you can find through here. So this guy have a, I think this guy have 2 experience here. So he's worked in NoQL Digital, and another thing is Descraft. So you will get, even if this guy have a 10 experience, it will show you in this particular column, so you guys can use it, right? After this, finding these prospect details, so I'm going to check their LinkedIn post for the personalization. So this is the crucial part, because most of the tools won't do the LinkedIn personalization because they don't have any access to the LinkedIn, but Clay has. So that is why we are using Clay as well. So here, right, I'm just writing a prompt, like go to their LinkedIn profile, check they have inside details and everything. Then I'm asking only fetch the data, the latest one, which is comes before May 1 to June 10. So that is the criteria that I'm given. So before that, it will take any data that won't necessary to reach out to them through the data, because that is all old, right? So analysis post, positive, neutral, and negative, key topics, anything that they mentioned in their post, it will give you. So I also mentioned the output structure. So if there is no output structure, there is no data, then it will give you the latest post, no data. So that is also we mentioned in the prompt, right? Then the final step that we have to write and personalized email for them. So this is also fully mentioned, fully written by prompt only. So we can write a prompt. So in Clay, writing a prompt have a different approach. So first of all, you have to give the prospect name and you have to give the objective, and you have to give the condition applies for the Clay, right? So the email word counts. So do not include a subject line. If you need the subject line, you can get from the direct itself. So I'm just getting the subject line from a different sector, right? You have to add the break lines. Then you have to tell the AI to do the unwanted data and everything. Start with the first name. If they have a response, then omit that response. And you need a different CTA, then you have to give the different CTA. And if you most of the emails, if you give the AI, it will start with the hope you find this email. So for this, I told you that do not start with the hope you find this email. Go ahead with the problem statement. So I gave the data that we collected till now. So traffic drop percentage detail and company level research AI output and response and everything. So also I mentioned this is the email format that I have. Hi, first name, the data for write email, then use case that we. So this is done. So when I click this run right, it will start writing an email for me just in a click. Yeah, one sec. Yeah, I'll also show you some example emails here. So this is one. So this is I mentioned 120 to 150 word count, but it's exceeded the count, I guess. So this is how the email the Clay will wrote. The analysis and found that January was highest traffic month and everything. It will add the value and everything. Also, it will apply our case study and everything. Also, it will give you the best CTA that we need, right? What are your thoughts? If you have a calendar link, you can add it through the prompt and everything. So mostly, so I won't say this is a good email for now because this emails look so big. So we can do is we can the prompt and everything one by one. So until you get the best results. So we have some example emails for the best results. So I'll also show you guys how this emails looks like. Yeah. So it's mostly I told the AI to use the lots of data inside. So that's why it give you the most of the values here. Yeah, this is the email and subject line and everything that we have right now. So here you can see, right? So first of all, we are mentioning that on your insight on your website, then what are the traffic data and percentage and everything. Then our case study. Then we'll also add the PS if they have a more and more traffic data in it. Then the CTA, then that's it. So this is how we wrote an email using Clay. So mostly we'll go with the short type of emails because mostly that emails are working right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.